was a day that was full of joy, exuberance. Every spokesperson was eloquent. Walter Reuther, Philip Randolph with his commanding presence, speaking in that marvelous, someone said, Harvard-trained voice, and with Whitney Young and Roy Wilkins and John Lewis and many others. I don't want to call everybody, with Eddie Jackson singing as if God himself had come down to earth. And then Martin King topped it all with perhaps the most magnificent speech made in America publicly since the Gettysburg Address.
As a teenager, 16 years old, going to Washington, D.C. at that time, it was to a large extent surreal and an out-of-body experience because of the absolute magnitude of it. Very quiet on the bus up there. Quite apprehensive was the bus trip.
You felt a sense that you were part of something great. It was just, I had been involved in the sit-in movement, and here as a young adult, this was another opportunity for me to speak in a nonviolent way against the injustices that were prevalent in America at that time. We had seen the dogs and the bull corners and the demonstrations, and now you're getting ready to have this huge march. Even though I knew that the appeal had been great, I was not prepared for the crowd that was there. And it's once you got there and you became a part of the masses, you realized that you were not in this struggle alone.
You could see other buses, and the more closer you got to Washington, the more buses you saw buses coming from every direction. Every direction. I knew what it was all about because I hadn't been too long, got out of service, and that was during the time that the service was trying to become integrated and all of that different turmoil and stuff was going on and everything. And it made you be proud to have someone who was fighting for equality and, and to make things better.
I'm a soldier and was then, but I did briefly fell out, fainted as it were. It was so hot that day, but I never hit the ground. It was like the hands of the people around me just lifted me up overhead, hand over head, stretched out straight as a board, passed us on over to where the Lincoln Memorial, I don't know how far. And when I woke up, my head was turned to the right, and I was looking right up in the eyes of Abraham Lincoln.
We taught the world that you can achieve something if you believe in it strongly enough, and you can do it in a peaceful, a nonviolent way.
And Martin King made, as I said before, this magnificent speech that he had a dream that one day the sons and daughters of slaves and sons and daughters of farm slaveholders would sit down at the welcome table together. What a magnificent day.
We will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
It's these times that when I remember the most, and I remember what it meant to us as a society.